Next, I'd like to introduce Marie Wright. Marie is Director of Strategic Planning for PBF Energy. She has worked in the refining industry for over 30 years, and she has extensive experience in research and engineering and heavy oil conversion technology. Please welcome Marie.
The first thing that I want to touch base on is with PBF on how we conduct our business, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk about how we perceive that the TRA has conducted their business and the information that they present in their presentations. First of all, for PBF, we hold ourselves responsible and accountable for all of our actions. We believe in sound science and engineering principles, and we follow industry practices in all of our work. Our actions are driven by factual data rather than random resources. The sources that we use in our evaluations are from qualified sources, and they are reviewed by qualified experts. In our industry, we are responsible to comply with all the rules and regulations that are set forth by all the governing agencies. We are also accountable to a very high standard to these agencies on following and complying. We also need to provide correct and accurate information to these agencies on all of our processes in all of our business areas, and we make sure that we do that. Next, I'd like to say, there's certain conduct of business that you need to follow while you're doing research or presenting any type of data. And actually, there's a federal policy on research misconduct. And I'm just going to read a couple excerpts out of that policy. Research misconduct is fabrication, falsification, or plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing research, or in reporting research results. Okay, 3 elements must be met to establish a finding of research misconduct. Showing subject has requisite level of intent to commit misconduct. The intent element is satisfied showing that the misconduct was committed intentionally or knowingly or recklessly. Only one of these needs to be demonstrated in order to satisfy this element of research misconduct finding. Fabrication is making up data or results and recording or reporting them. Falsification is the manipulation of research materials, equipment, or processes, or changing or omitting data or results such that the research is not accurately represented in the research record. Not the intent of this policy to call accepted practices into question. However, the omission of data is considered falsification when it misleads the reader about the results of the research. I'm going to go through a couple examples of where we actually look at some of the myth versus fact from the TRA's presentation information to what we find in ours. Okay, first of all, the TRA science panel considers themselves knowledgeable on MHF and refining. However, the TRA panel, from our understanding, has no experience, education, or knowledge in refining or the alkylation technology. They are educated PhDs in the aerospace industry. They are not alkylation specialists. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what an expert is and how you use experts, particularly in a medical field, right? Okay, we know that there are doctors out there who are experts in all different fields, dermatologists, cardiologists, oncologists. If you have a heart condition, you're not going to go to a dermatologist to get an evaluation. You're going to go to a heart specialist. You're going to go to the cardiologist so that you can get a complete evaluation on your heart condition. In our industry, we use that same policy. If we have a question on alkylation, we're going to go to alkylation experts, and we're going to get the right answer. We're not going to go to an aerospace engineer for an answer on alkylation. Also, the science panel members, in their information that we have found, present alternative facts, misleading, incorrect data to make their case against MHF. Source data that they take is from internet searches, patents, and the media. Their evaluations and conclusions, from what we can see, are based on speculation and some poor assumptions because they don't have the data, the proper data, to back up their findings. They rely on patents for a lot of their technical data. Well, a patent is an idea. It's not a final product. You cannot go and look at a patent and go out to a processing unit and see that it matches the patent. Patents are ideas that are developed over a long time. Okay, this takes a while to develop them. And what the final product is could be different than what the idea was. Also, in the TRA's information, we have found numerous cases where they present altered data from patent sources and tables that make their case for banning MHF. What this does is this misinforms the public officials and it alarms the residents unnecessarily. TRA in their information also uses innuendos and false claims to discredit everything about MHF. Okay, the presiding judge, they said wasn't an expert. The safety advisor, they discredited, and he had 30 plus years in the safety industry. The city officials, they came against the mayor at the time, the fire chief, and some of the council members. They have come against and said the test methods and mitigations aren't proper. The TRAA are not experts in this field to know and have the data for this. They have not gone out on their own and done testing on the mitigations and on the MHF like has been done. On the flip side of that, Mobil, who is now ExxonMobil, Phillips, who is now UOP, and Quest engineers, who were all very highly qualified engineers in the field of alkylation, refining, and model dispersion. This group of highly qualified people got together and they developed the MHF process. They did rigorous testing on the MHF, and they did pilot plant studies, many pilot plant studies. They took all of their test data, their results, and their conclusions, and they presented it to the judge presiding over the case. The judge had them evaluated by the safety advisor, and the safety advisor approved it, and it was approved by the court that the MHF process was viable. In addition, the AQMD has issued and granted us a permit to operate the MHF unit. They also had reviewed this information. Now we will go through, I have only two examples because of time. However, we have, as a team, gone through the entire presentation that the TRA has posted on their website. We have gone through all of the data and reports that we have. We have reviewed it with our experts. They have looked at this. We have reviewed it also with UOP. Okay, we find many, many claims that are misleading in this information, and we have that all documented. So on this particular slide, from slide 13 from one of the TRA's presentations, it states a patent says appearance is fuming, that it's not fuming like HF, that it's not safe. However, nothing in this patent, when you read it, indicates that MHF was fuming or that it is unsafe. The patent actually never defines what fuming means. If you look at these tables, there's two up here. This table on this side is the actual table that was in the patent. The table over here is the table that was used in the TRA presentation. They only inserted the top portion of that table. However, if you look at the full table, this patent, the sole purpose of this patent was to test an alkylate product quality. This patent was not testing HF. The appearance column, which they say was fuming like HF, that column right there is referencing the alkylate product sample. It's not HF. It does not say anything in the patent that was the characteristics of the HF and the MHF was having that same characteristics. Okay, on the next example I have is from slide 23. And they make the claim that this table accurately reflects a patent reference. However, again, this table was altered from the original table. Here is the actual table from the patent. This is the table down below here that they have in their work. You can see there's a column in the original patent that states the pressure. That column was taken out. They did note the pressure on the top of the table. However, they added in over here an additive weight percent column. In this patent, it does not state what the additive weight percent was. What they assumed that was 100 minus the weight percent of the HF concentration. However, as we talked about, alkylation unit acid is not just HF and the additive. It also has other components in it. This is misleading. The other aspects on this table that they were talking about, rainout is not equivalent to ARF. Again, that's a misleading fact. They don't have the information that is behind this to be able to make those claims. There are many different examples that we could go through at a later time. But what I'd like to say is that, as scientists and as experts in different fields, in order to properly evaluate the MHF process, you need to have alkylation specialists do it. We cannot have just any scientist come in to this complicated process, or any of them, and evaluate it. So, yeah. So we, Betsy, you can come back. I guess we'll be available, for discussions as we move on.